Hey, what's up guys? This is Kyle, Bear River Strength and Conditioning. We are at episode 13 of Tips and Tricks. This week we are talking about why your wrists might hurt when you have a bar in a front rack position. So what we're talking about with the front rack position is that achy, throbby pain in the wrist. There's generally two things that are going on that are causing that pain that you might be experiencing. Number one is a lack of front rack positioning. So if I have this bar, something that's happening is these elbows are dropping and they're getting into here and requiring you to grab onto the bar. So once we see that, that's the issue. It really just depends on how can we fix it. A lot of times we can go to a mobility issue. The mobility issues typically tie to the wrist or into the lat, this area. So today we're going to specifically talk about the wrist and some stretches that you can do before and after class that'll help mobilize your wrists. So some quick checkpoints to see if you have mobility wrist issues. Number one is the prayer stretch. So you can just simply go like this. Your arms should go perpendicular to your hands. If you struggle with that, that could potentially be a wrist mobility issue. And so we'll show you some stuff you can do. The other thing is you can reach from the side and reach back. And if you can't get your hand perpendicular that way as well, you might have a mobility issue in your wrist. So when we're talking about mobility, we look at dynamic stretches versus static stretches. Dynamic stretches are where we're moving throughout the stretch. Static stretches are where we would like hold a stretch. The dynamic stuff we want to do before the workout. The reason why is in a static stretch where you hold, you lose elasticity. What that is that stretch-like reflex that we want to have in the workout. We want your muscles and your tendons and everything to stretch and react. So we're going to go through some dynamic stretches that you can do. First is you can just circle your hair, grip your hands like this, and you can just roll them in a circle. Okay, you'll hear popping, all that fun stuff. You can do that prior to your workout if you've got a front rack, push press, strict press, front squat, push jerk, all those movements. The other thing you can do is we can look at some mobility issues and some myofascial release in the hand and the wrist and the forearm. So you could use a lacrosse ball like this, and you can simply press down and then pressure your wrist and then roll through the bottom of the hand there. And you're gonna find some sticky points. Once you find some sticky points, hang out there and spend some time in those sticky points prior to class. You can also do that one after. The last one we wanna do on the ball here is you can put your hand into flexion and then smash that forearm, and you're gonna find some sticky points in the forearm, like that right there is fairly painful. So I would sit and hang out on that spot. The last thing, we do this a lot in class, is the wrist stretch. So when we talk about dynamically, we want to move through the movement versus a static stretch would be sitting here, leaning back, holding on to it. Do the static stuff after class. The other stuff, as far as like mobility here in the lat, is elbow rotations. We do these all the time in our barbell prep every day. What we want to do, it's dynamic, so we're moving through the motion, learning how to open up the rib cage and the lat. There's also some banded options from a static standpoint. You can hang a band from here. You can lock into it and sit and hang and pull your rib cage down. That would be a static one that I'd want to do after class. So again, dynamic, move through the movement prior to so you don't lose elasticity. Static goes after. I hope that helps. If you're having pain, do your tests and see if there's some issues here or here. And work through them. So thanks guys, appreciate it.